of tools. Did you ever read that agreement? It probably tells you exactly what's going to happen if that information was breached, where it's stored, how it's stored, when it's destroyed, how to get access, all of that. So if you go through your vendors, hopefully they'll have something like that in all of these agreements. And I'm going to say that the only time you're going to read that agreement is when something happens. You're going to pull it out and go, oh, I wonder what it says. And, I would say for the most part, a lot of those user agreements are written in plain language. So hopefully they're all written to 8th grade level. That was sort of the requirement when I was a lawyer. We had to write our disclosures to 8th grade knowledge. I'm going to say it always didn't happen, but to the extent possible, all of these agreements should be written in plain language so you can understand them. All right, cyber incident management. So after you've done that panicking, said all the bad words, these can actually raise kind of unique legal questions. These are, this is a time that you want to have your lawyer in your back pocket, and you want to get one who's not a general practitioner. You want to get one that is familiar with cyber incident response, because they can help you either get some remuneration from the vendors or from, to help pay for the cost of all of that recovery. So this is a new field. There are a lot of lawyers that say that they know something about this and they might want to get you to hire them. Hopefully this is past your panic point and you can think more clearly. You want to select someone who actually knows something about this. Don't hire anyone. Then, you want to update your policies. You want to see that whether or not your personnel and human resource policies are sufficient. Because maybe the breach happened because of one of your employees. You want to be sure to review that to make sure that that would be a violation of your company policies if that were to happen. You want to look at your IT policies. In your IT policy, hopefully one of the very first things it says is install all of the updates. If it doesn't, you should take a look at that and make sure that it does that. You want to make sure that there's some reasonable access control on networks. So I'm going to say that after an event happens, you're going to look at this and go, oh, I think that not everybody should have full access to everything. Okay, too late, but when you're starting afresh, which is what happens in recovery, you can start all over and maybe limit access to to some people. Okay, so here are some practical tips to do if you are the target. Step 1. So I wrote this in step by step. The initial assessment. Immediately make an assessment of the nature and scope of the incident. So, your website is down, okay? Have the appropriate network logging capabilities. So either you can stop it electronically. If you can't, you just shut it down somehow. You want to identify the users, connections, processes, and any open ports. So open ports meaning in your office, if you have a lot of the internet connections, you want to be sure to either shut those down somehow or somehow block it so that no one else can come in. Plug in. You want to look at whatever external communications that you have to do and look for evidence of criminal intent. So I'm going to say the last thing, look for evidence of criminal intent. You probably won't be able to do by yourself. But that's the reason for kind of keeping all of this stuff intact, so that someone else can help you do this. Step 2, minimize damage. So you want to reroute that network traffic to not to the bad site or to the compromised site, but to somewhere else. Or if you have to completely turn it off, that should be an option. You want to filter or block a DDoS attack. So as you're trying to, that's the one where it's disrupting your service. Don't fully concentrate on trying to recover that service, because those bad guys are now in there doing something else to another part of your platform. You want to try to isolate all or parts of that compromised network. You want to block any illegal access, and that includes all the ports, so, if you have to, just tape it. Keep detailed records of the steps taken to mitigate the damage and any associated costs. And abandon network and restore with the backup file. Step 3, you want to record and collect the information. So I'm going to say that you're probably not the only one that had this particular attack. You want to create what's called a forensic image of the affected computers. You want to locate your backups, make sure that your backup is not compromised. Use new or sanitized equipment, and restrict access to protect data. Okay, so this new or sanitized equipment, I've heard of a company who was a target of one of these data breaches. What they did was, and this is a pretty big company, they went out and bought 1,000 new laptops for their employees. They shut all of their entire network down. They picked everybody, or they collected everyone's laptop or PC, had this big order. So they were down for a few days waiting for that delivery, and then redistributed new equipment with the backed up information. So they were down, I think it was 4 days with no access to anyone. So it can be done. I think that's kind of an extreme, but that was in their plan, and that's how they were going to address and mitigate any of the damage. Okay, more on step 3 of recording and collecting information. You want to describe all the related events. So you want to keep track of what time that might have happened. Include any phone calls that you made, who you talked to, what you talked about. Identify the people working on the tasks related to the intrusion. I know I say know the type and version of the software being run on the network, so hopefully you know this. Are you running Microsoft 10? Are you running Microsoft 7? What version are you running? And what tools do you have in that Microsoft platform? Do you have all the tools? Do you just have some tools? That'll make a difference as to how you recover. And then if you've done your own network patching, you want to note that, so that as you're trying to recover, or the police, as they're trying to help you do the recovery, they know what it is that could have been vulnerable. All right, step 4, notify. You want to notify the people in your company, notify your clients, law enforcement, and other potential victims. And these other potential victims are all of the associated businesses that you do business with. So any of the lenders that you do business with, any of those software platforms that you use, because really the intrusion could have come through one of those, or one of them. Okay, and Here's one. Here's what not to do. I'm sure I don't have to say this, but just in case. Do not use the compromised system to communicate. Don't send emails to anyone, because now you're just spreading the compromised virus or whatever it is that's in there. And I saw someone do this, or I read an article about this. Do not hack or damage another network. So you think it's someone that you know. That's what this person did. They thought it was someone that they knew, so they planted a hack on that person. Don't do that, because that just makes it worse. That revenge thing just won't work. In the recovery, you want to monitor your network for any unusual activity. You want to continue to monitor the network for a while to make sure that the intruder is expelled. And then you want to conduct a post-incident review to see if your plan worked. If it didn't work, maybe you want to update it. And maybe it worked this time, but maybe the next incident, it might not work. But there's always lessons learned from any incident. All right, and that is the end of the presentation. Oh, we're early. I have my contact information. We have, our DFI email address. You can also use DFI-NMLS@dcca.hawaii.gov. Follow us on Twitter. When this PowerPoint will be up on our website, hopefully by the end of the day. I'll send out a Twitter notice. So if you're following, you can pick up the slides that way. What I forgot to do is talk about what's next. What's next? Coming up are the renewals. Okay, so if you're planning to renew your license, you want to make sure that you do not have any license items on your license. License items meaning, you failed to submit an MCR or financial condition, or you didn't do your continuing education, or whatever it is. You want to be sure that you clear all those, or you will not be able to even enter into the renewal portal. So NMLS is now smart enough to detect that if you have a license item, or you haven't completed all of the things needed for your license renewal, you cannot even get into the system. So you need to clear all that up. And just be sure about the continuing education. We have this question come up every year. Continuing education, I think that there was a blast that went out from NMLS about reminding everybody about the continuing education requirements. Once you've completed that continuing education, it could take a couple, 3 or 4 days for NMLS to verify that you did the continuing education and then update your system or your license before we'll be able to see it, or that you'll be able to get in to renew your license. Okay, so if you have questions about your license renewal, we will once again put up our videos on license renewals, or PowerPoints on license renewals. What that means is once that goes up, this video will come down. We only have so much space on our website. You can always get these videos or any of our previous videos on the DCCA YouTube account. It's open, YouTube is open to the public, so you can be sure to look at any of the previous year's YouTube videos. Is there anything that I'm missing? No? I forgot to ask if there were questions about cybersecurity, because I was hoping that there weren't any. But are there questions about cybersecurity or cyber-hygiene? No? Okay, if not, this will end our session 15 minutes early. Thank you for coming, and be sure to follow us on Twitter to get all the updates. Thank you.